vowed that they would get to the bottom of it and that those who were guilty would be found and would be prosecuted. I have to say it seemed to go down pretty well, his message, amongst the hundreds of soldiers who crammed inside the mess hall at Abu Ghraib today.
So morale amongst the US military has been dented by this scandal. Is morale tonight now higher than it was?
I think you're absolutely right. Morale has been dented by this scandal. Morale had been dented before this by the fact that many soldiers here were having their periods here extended. There has been a climate of growing violence as well. And now we have this, the prisoner abuse scandal. But I think that Donald Rumsfeld's visit today was as much about boosting morale as it was about shoring up his own position back in Washington, because basically it was just the image that he wanted to portray rather than being on the back foot as he has been at these Senate hearings over the last few days. There he was out there glad-handing, doing what he's good at, and he did seem very jovial and very ebullient with the troops.
But within the context of Iraq and ordinary Iraqis and indeed the rest of the Arab world, David, has he managed to limit the damage following on from that scandal?
I don't think so. As you heard in Caroline Hawley's report there are a lot of people, ordinary Iraqis, who are very skeptical, and they feel now that all trust, what remaining trust they had in the US-led coalition, has more or less gone following the publication and widespread publication of those photos, as very damning photos. They've appeared and continue to appear in Arab language newspapers and on Arab TV stations here, and it is a public relations disaster.
David Willis there in Baghdad, thanks very much.
It's 18 minutes past 7. Let's take a look at the headlines. Calls for the editor of the Daily Mirror to resign after the government says its photographs were categorically not taken in Iraq.
The American Defense Secretary, as we've just heard, visits the prison near Baghdad, the Abu Ghraib prison, and says those who abused Iraqi prisoners will be brought to justice.
In India, Sonia Gandhi is poised to take power as her Congress party wins enough seats to form a government.
And in sport, Liverpool turned down the offer of a £73 million investment by the property developer Steve Morgan. The deal not dead in the water, despite being described as unattractive. But the board believe Morgan has undervalued the club. The Euro 2004 dream for Wales is over after the Court of Arbitration for Sport dismissed their appeal to have their playoff match against Russia overturned. And 10 years after her last appearance in a Grand Slam singles event, Martina Navratilova will play singles again at the French Open. And we have details on those stories in half an hour's time. See you then.
Thanks very much. As we just heard, India, the world's biggest democracy, is preparing for the return of the Gandhi dynasty after a shock result in the country's general election. Sonia Gandhi's Congress party has defeated the ruling Hindu nationalist BJP in a victory fueled by millions of votes from India's rural poor.
Sonia Gandhi!
This had the feel of a restoration.
Sonia Gandhi!
For these are the supporters of Sonia Gandhi, Indian political royalty, poised now for an unexpected ascent to power. So the paparazzi treatment for the Congress Party's Italian-born leader, written off as a lightweight when the campaign started, today she was living la dolce vita, propelled towards office by an outburst of voter anger.
This was about a revolt of India's poor and dispossessed, spectators in India's economic success story rather than participants in it.
Delhi Golf Club, where the annual membership is more than many Indians earn in a lifetime. Here we met entrepreneur Amit Bala, proof of the previous government's slogan, India is shining.
India may be shining for me, but not for the man down there. Ask him if India is shining. I doubt if he'll agree. Does he have clean water, a nice place to stay, food, education? That's what he's looking for. Rising stock market, interest rates, doesn't concern him.
From the playground of the Indian rich to the home of the Indian poor. People like locksmith Mehtab Khan.
Do you see any evidence that India is shining?
India only shines in magazines and on television, he says. Things have got worse for me. This is where the prosperous meets the poor, or not, as the case may be. This was billed as the feel-good election, but millions of Indians merely felt excluded. Nick Bryant, BBC News, Delhi.
Dr. Subroto Roy from the University of Buckingham was a senior advisor to the late Rajiv Gandhi, and he's in our Oxford studio now. Good evening to you. You have known the Gandhis. Tell us why they have this enduring dynastic appeal, even in the world's biggest democracy.
Oh, if you allow me to disagree with you slightly, I did work for Rajiv Gandhi before his assassination, and I've met his widow, Sonia Gandhi, who may well lead the country. But I think it's a large mistake to think that we are being governed by a dynasty. They are elected and beloved members of the Congress Party, but it's really the Congress Party which is coming into power at the centre by the looks of it. And one needs to see that there have been very major state elections as well, where the Congress Party has lost power. And I think the real story here has to do with how mature the Indian electorate is and how sceptical it is of any political party staying in power for too long. So I think that's the real story, and I think the focus on dynasties and particular personalities or sort of add a soap opera touch to politics, but that's not the real story here, I don't think.
Well, you would know. Yet this was an unexpected result, wasn't it? The BJP slogan, "India is shining," didn't seem to go down that well with the rural poor, did it?
Well, that's absolutely right, and I think if I'm very cynical, I would say that during the dark decades of pseudo-socialism in India, there was a lot of mendacity on the part of government. And I'm afraid to say those habits of mendacity have continued in some respects, even after the liberalization of '91. So I think governments tend to, around the world, they tend to start believing their own propaganda, and they might think they're more secure than they are.
And what do you think the priorities of Sonia Gandhi's government, if indeed she does form one, will be?
Well, that's a crucial question. I think the first question she will be addressing is whether she will herself be the Prime Minister, because I doubt if the Congress is going to be able to form a government on its own without the support of the left and what would be called a secular coalition of some sort. Now, it may well be that there is a different Prime Minister from Mrs. Gandhi who was chosen from one of the partners. So I think that's going to be the subject of very hard negotiation over the next few weeks. But again, I point to that the Congress has lost state elections in Karnataka in the south. And the sister state of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, has also lost a very popular or supposedly popular chief minister. So we've got a very strong democratic exercise going on in India, where some house cleaning is occurring on the part of the electorate.
Dr. Roy in Oxford, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
A mother whose 14-year-old daughter had an abortion without her knowledge says she's furious the school allowed it, and she called for a change in the law. The girl had the termination after speaking to an advisor at her school. Her mother says parents should always be informed in such cases.
Maureen Smith can't believe that no one had to tell her her daughter was pregnant and having an abortion. When she gave this interview last night, she didn't want her family to be identified.
It's absolutely crucified me. Crucified me. I've not been able to eat, to sleep. I can't get it out of my head. I just felt totally excluded, and that's what they did. You know, that's